Hot take, the Star of David never existed. In fact, it's always been an occultic symbol that got a PR brand. Let me show you.
All right, let's see it.
Long before the Star of David existed, this six-pointed star was linked to Saturn worship and Remphan.
So that image, which is a type of talisman of Saturn, dates to the 1850s. It comes from a book entitled The History and Practice of Magic, Volume 2, by a French author whose pseudonym was Paul Christian. And while it is based on earlier grimoires and the Key of Solomon and things like that that go back into the medieval period, that particular design for that particular talisman of Saturn is 19th century in origin. And we have Jewish uses of the hexagram that long predate both that book as well as the Key of Solomon and other medieval grimoires.
And here's the first account of it ever existing. The Gezer Bowl is the first occurrence of the Star of David, but hold up, it was found in Canaan. And which gods did they worship? Oh yeah, that's right, Molech and Remphan.
So a few problems here. To begin, the bowl shown in that image is not an artifact known as the Gezer Bowl because there is no such artifact, because Gezer Bowl is just a style of pottery that is characteristic of the pottery that was discovered at Gezer. And so that image shows a Gezer bowl, but you can go look in archaeological reports, and here are drawings of cross-sections of a bunch of different types of Gezer bowl. Now, that image shows a bowl that was discovered in Gezer that dates to the 3rd or 2nd century BCE, so the mid-Hellenistic period. So by this time, it wouldn't have been considered Canaanite. It probably would have been considered Judean or Jewish or something like that. But it also doesn't contain any iconography of any kind whatsoever. So no, there is no hexagram associated with that bowl. Additionally, no, nobody worshipped any deities named Moloch or Remphan in this region in this time period. In fact, there was never a deity named Moloch worshipped in the ancient world. The notion that there was a deity named Moloch is based on the Septuagint's misunderstanding of an ancient Semitic word, mulk, which was a noun that referred to a specific type of sacrifice. And the translators of the Septuagint didn't understand that, and sometimes took mulk to be the Hebrew word melech, which means king, or the name of some deity that was associated with child sacrifice. But no such deity ever existed. And Remphan is also unknown from the ancient world, and it is based on, again, the Septuagint's misunderstanding of the ancient Hebrew Kiyun, which was probably a Hebrew transliteration of an Akkadian name, Kewan, which was a name for a deity associated with the planet Saturn. But Remphan is entirely unknown, and the different manuscripts of Acts 7:43, where the word is found, say Raifan or Romfan or Rayfan. There are a bunch of different ways it is spelled, and again, it is entirely unknown. It is likely that the translators of the Septuagint were basing their interpretation of Kiyun on some other deity, either Egyptian or Greco-Roman or something like that, but we have no idea who it was. It was probably associated with the planet Saturn, though.
If you don't know, Molech and Remphan are pretty good buddies, and Molech was the god of child sacrifice. Not a great guy to hang out with.
There was no such deity in the ancient world, and if you would like a wonderful recent discussion of this, you can check out Child Sacrifice in Ancient Israel.
Around the same time, we can see it in India, and it starts to symbolize fire and water, the two interlocking triangles, and it says, so as above, so below.
So the use of the hexagram in Indian iconography goes back into the early 1st millennium BCE. However, it has nothing to do with the saying, as above, so below. That is a mystical couplet that is based on the Emerald Tablet, which is a text that we know in an Arabic version that dates to the 8th or 9th century CE, and likely goes back to an original text from maybe the 6th or 7th centuries CE, and the Emerald Tablet is entirely unrelated to the use of the hexagram in India.
The first time we see it related to Judaism isn't until 1st to 4th century, and this is actually on tombstones in synagogues, where they also have the occult 5-pointed star as well.
So the hexagram and the pentagram do show up as geometric designs in architecture in early Judaism. This particular photo shows the architectural lintels that depict the hexagram and the pentagram from Capernaum, and they date to around the 3rd or 4th century CE. They have nothing to do with burials or anything like that. They are just architectural features.
Now, you might be interested in knowing that the actual star of Remphan, there was a coin on one side. It was a 5-sided pentagram, and on the other, a 6-sided star.
So this medallion and that design also come from the 19th century with the revival of occultism in the Western world, and it has absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with the use of pentagrams and hexagrams in architectural designs in ancient Jewish synagogues.
Around the 17th and 19th centuries, we actually see it appear again, though in red, and it's the Rothschild family crest.
I can find absolutely no confirmation anywhere that that is the Rothschild family crest or coat of arms. That looks to be a brooch or a piece of jewelry of some kind that is just incorporating common imagery associated with Israel. This is the Rothschild family coat of arms, and it has nothing to do with the image that was shown earlier.
They commissioned a competition in 1897 to determine what should be the leading symbol of Zionism. It's not the State of Israel, because the State of Israel did not exist yet.
The hexagram had been used as a symbol of Judaism in some form or another going back to the early modern period. It didn't just come out of nowhere originally as a symbol of Zionism at the end of the 19th century, although it was certainly adopted as a symbol of Zionism in that time period.
What does the Bible say about this? Well, Amos 5:26 says, "You took up the star of Chion." Who is Chion? Well, it's the next stage of Remphan again. So it's still the star of Remphan.
So, as I mentioned earlier, Kiyun is likely a Hebrew transliteration of an Akkadian divine name, Kewan, which was likely a deity associated with Saturn. Remphan is entirely unknown from this period and is just the way the Septuagint translators decided to render Kiyun, probably based on some Egyptian or Greco-Roman divine name that was associated with Saturn. However, we have no data to support that. And again, the manuscripts spell this name in a variety of different ways. Raifan, Remfam, Ramfan. There are a bunch of different ways it's spelled, and we're not sure what exactly it's a reference to.
Amos drives home this point in 742 when he says, "You brought the shrine of Moloch and the star of your god Remphan."
There aren't 42 verses in Amos chapter 7. I think this content creator is just confusing the passage he already cited from Amos for Acts 7:43, which he's going to talk about next.
Steve later quotes him when he protests a church that does this exact same thing, and what do? They martyr him shortly after. He becomes the first martyr because he protested against this six-pointed star.
No, that is not why Stephen was martyred, and no, he was not protesting any six-pointed star. There is absolutely nothing anywhere that connects the star mentioned in Amos or mentioned in Acts with a hexagram. That is an arbitrary identification, and the notion that the six-pointed star is connected with Saturn or with Remphan or with Kiyun or anything like that is entirely a modern invention. No such connection is known from anywhere in the ancient world. This is all made up as an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory.
Now, I was told by many Christians, who I love, family even, that I was wrong for protesting this same six-sided star in church. But why is it in church? I didn't even see a cross in sight, actually, but I did see the Israeli flag being flown in our church. Let's be clear, that's the star of Remphan. I've shown it all the way through. It was never anything else until in 1897, it was decided it was the Star of David.
So, as I demonstrated, this is just an ignorant and a misguided anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. Please stop spreading such idiotic misinformation just because it makes you feel better about your own worldview. And the fit for this video has been Jim Lee's X-Men #1.